I got 'em! All of 'em! You get what I need, and I'll give 'em to you. Simple. You got a ship, could find 'em all to boot.
Who is that man?
Him? Some old salt always on about letters he's got from Captain Kidd. Nonsense, really, but he doesn't hurt no one, so I'll leave him be. Talk to him if you fancy, but be warned he'll chew your ear off. Anyway, your keeler's here for you. If you should get a pang for the open sea, we'll be waiting. Now, I implore you to head up the hill before the old man comes out of retirement just for me.
Few weeks, and not even a goodbye before you left.
Sorry.
Well, what are you waiting for? Put them on. Once upon a time, we had a ceremony on such occasions. But I don't think either of us are really the type for that. You've your tools and training, your targets and goals. And now you have your title. Welcome to the Brotherhood, Connor.
Welcome back, Desmond. You'll be happy to hear there's actually good news for once.
Yeah?
I've managed to locate a power source, and it's relatively close by. Up for a trip to Manhattan?
Is it safe to leave? Abstergo's gotta be looking for us.
Obviously it's not safe. Can't exactly sit around here hoping to get lucky, though, can we? We need that power source. Besides, I'm sure you can cook up some way to hide our movements.
Maybe. The Templars have access to all kinds of satellites and camera systems. We'll need to find a way to mask our digital signature. I can probably camouflage the van, too. But there's not much I can do for us.
That's an easy one.
Rebecca gets cut off here, but she says, just a heads up, there's no elevator access.
Local utility companies have assured the public that they're completely prepared for the upcoming solar maximum. Disruptions to service are expected to be minimal.
If only they knew.
What's this?
A remote-operated camera. It'll provide us with a feed while you're on mission. This will let us talk to each other.
We're almost there, so listen up. The artifact is in an office penthouse in Lower Manhattan. At this time of night, direct infiltration is going to get you noticed. I think we're better off having you drop in from above.
What do you mean, above? Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, read you just fine. Now why don't you power up the camera? I've got Takes, running diagnostics. Perfect. I've got a nice, strong signal.
Alright, finally getting out and stretching Desmond's legs here. I like how he has had no actual assassin training besides the assassin stuff inside of the animus. I would assume that they use guns and you know, everything else. Not that his skills that he learned aren't good to have. I just feel like, you know, technology, even from Revolutionary War, that's a bit old. But what do I know? So what the plan is to go to a higher building, jump off, parachute down to the next. Is, you know, I feel like our dad just wants to murder us. He's like, I never wanted a son. How can I get rid of this guy? Then Desmond ran away. He was like, oh, well, he's not dead though. And he's still out there. I gotta get rid of him for good.
Oh, that's a hold still. That's a lovely view.
Seriously, Sean? Fuck you.
We're lucky this construction site was nearby. It's a very convenient construction site. Okay, so we've got 2 beams held up by this thing. Looks like ropes. I'd be honest. I gotta be honest, yeah. This is completely illegal, 1. 2, I wouldn't have jumped on that at all. Oh, bye, Desmond. And that's what happens if you're doing parkour sometimes. UAV 001.
There's no elevator access from here on out. You'll have to get up there the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, okay. I guess perhaps she told us. She wanted to tell us that before, but whatever. Yeah, that whole thing with the beams, not cool. I'm gonna have to contact my OSHA rep. Also, Desmond, no hard hat. You're out. You're fired. Climbing this crane like this? Mm-mm. That stuff held up by ropes? Not cool. Nobody uses ropes anymore. Also, how are those 2 beams held together? Good job, buddy. We made it this time. Yep, there's another one. And you're not supposed to have them suspended if nobody's around. What is going on here? Construction workers in New York don't give a crap.
Jesus.
Look on the bright side. No security to worry about.
And on the not so bright side, the slightest misstep means you're effectively paced.
Shut up, Sean.
Why does it feel like somebody staged this like this on purpose so that some guy could come over and climb it all?
Once you reach the top of the lit-up crane, you should be high enough to make the jump.
Should?
It'll be fine, don't worry.
Well, you might want to worry a little. I'm pretty sure she was high when she was running the numbers.
Sean!
A joke. It was a joke. Or was it?
So we gotta climb the tower crane? Great. There's a ladder right there. Sure, I'm sure it leads into the inside, but still. Why wouldn't we have just used that? I mean, in real life, somebody has to climb that, like, every single day.
Jump when you're ready, but wait for my signal to open the chute. Timing's really important here. Too soon or too late, and you'll miss the building. Now! Open your chute, now!
Yeah, I don't know if we're making that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that little twirl.
Just a heads up, there's no elevator access from here on out. You'll have to get up there the old-fashioned way. Now! Open your chute, now!
Rebecca, I feel like we could have skipped the part where there's no elevator access this time. That one turn put me that far below where I was supposed to be. I get that we're on, you know, teams and stuff here, but you're gonna send Desmond, the only guy that you actually need to do this dangerous job. Nice. When there's other teams that probably could do it.
That wasn't so bad.
So, you must be Desmond. Not exactly what I expected, but I guess your kind doesn't have many options these days.
Who are you?
Ask your father. Now give me that.
I don't think so.
Look, I'm not supposed to kill you, but the boss man didn't say anything about fucking you up. So you got to the counter.
I mean, you probably shouldn't tell him, you know, bad guys, you know, I tell you. But yeah, probably the wrong guy to send in. Use one of the other teams.
So who the hell is Daniel Cross?
Believe it or not, he used to be an assassin. The assassin, the way I've heard it told, but it turned out he was a sleeper agent for Abstergo, programmed to infiltrate and destroy the organization.
How did he know you were there? We could be compromised.
They must have caught me snooping inside their network and sent Cross to see what we were after. If they were aware of our current location, we'd know. Though, I will say this. Doesn't bode very well for future expeditions.
I've set up some cameras topside. If anyone shows up, we'll see it.
I'd suggest you go see about finding a socket for that power source. Or we can return to Connor if you prefer. All the artifacts in the world won't mean a thing without the key.
I feel like the cameras don't really do much. Even if somebody did show up, we don't have anywhere to go. Well, I mean, what are we gonna jump down? Alright, now that we have the key, we can find a place to put it. I think we'll stay out of the animus for a little while, trying to get everything we can kind of taken care of before we jump back in. I think maybe we'll see if anybody has anything to say. Maybe they can give us a hint at what we should be looking for.
Son?
Papa?
I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have lashed out like that.
That's right.
You have to understand, I've never been very good at this. Never mind that we live rather extraordinary lives.
Yeah, I kinda liked my ordinary one.
You can't escape who you are, Desmond.
So I've noticed.
Look, it's silly for us to go back and forth like this. I admit, I did a shitty job raising you. I apologize, I'm sorry. But it's important you understand it didn't come from a bad place. You're my son. I love you. I guess I was so busy trying to make sure nothing bad happened, I didn't consider the consequences. Truce.
I can't believe it's taken me so long to ask, but... how's Mom? She's not...
No. Your mother is fine. We decided it was safer if we split up for this job.
Always assuming the worst.
For good reason.
Can I at least say hi to her?
I'm sorry, it's too risky. Maybe when we're done.
Right. When we're done.
Why not now? I want my mommy. Papa.
Have we ever tried to make peace with the Templars?
Throughout our history, there have been moments. Several, in fact. But it's impossible. There are existential differences, insurmountable. If there were to be unity, it wouldn't be a truce so much as a submission.
But knowing what's about to happen, wouldn't it make sense to try and talk to Vidic? Come to an arrangement, even if it's only temporary?
We'd all be so busy watching our backs, nothing would get accomplished. Imagine that. We're more productive at war.
Well, have we ever tried sending in someone? Doing to them what they did to us with Lucy? Or Cross?
We have, and it's never worked. We've sent people who were either too weak and found themselves turned, or too strong and were unable to carry out the charade.
I just feel like we all want the same thing.
We use the same words, but that's all they are, words. In the end, it all comes down to freedom. We seek it, they detest it. And so there's never an end to the fight. Not until one side is completely gone.
Is that even possible?
Probably not. Our two groups have existed in one form or another since, well, since forever. But things can be better than they are. And that's something.
Did you look for me, Dad? When I was gone?
Every day.
Come on.
I mean it. Every night I'd look, searching for your name or variations of it, hoping you'd slip up. Abstergo only found you first because they had better access. A few more days and it would have been me.
Well, I'm here now.
And I'm glad.
Do you think Lucy regretted what she was doing?
I used to think I knew her well, but clearly that wasn't the case. So I really can't give you an honest answer.
She seemed so sincere, though. Like she really wanted to make a difference.
Yes, well, when I first met him, I thought the same thing about Cross.
It just keeps happening over and over again.
What does?
Everything.
Don't get weird on me, Desmond.
No, it's fine. I'm fine. Don't worry.
All right, then. You should think about getting back in the Animus. We've got to find that key. We should probably get back to Connor.
Yeah, I think that your hair changing was weird in the light. Also, yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Templars are winning our little, I don't know, sides battle. They seem to have better resources, more people. We have a couple of groups that we know of. They have all kinds of
Desmond,
technology.
there you are. Can I ask a favor?
Maybe.
When this is all over, I'd like to try turning the dial back on the animus. Like, all the way back. To the time of the first civilization.
You think it would work?
There was no real loss of fidelity when you visited Altair. Then again, that was about 1,000 years ago, and I'm looking at going back at least 70,000 more.
Sure, I'd be up for it. Be interesting to see what things were like back then.
Excellent. I think it would prove most enlightening. So this is how it started.
What are you up to?
Just brushing up on my American history. Well, I say history. They certainly teach you strange things in the States.
Like what?
Well, for all the talk of this being a revolutionary war, it was a civil one. Well, not that kind of civil. I mean, there was no America versus Britain. It was Brit on Brit action. And you can clearly see how the whole thing got started. One war gave birth to the other.
You mean the 7 Years' War?
Exactly. Seems the Crown overspent in its attempt to keep the French out, wound up with a great deal of debt. Believing that the colonists should help to shoulder the burden, new taxes were created. It was a reasonable request, even if Parliament was rather, well, undiplomatic about it.
Well, it's not really fair to tax people for a war they didn't want any part of.
What? Didn't want any part of? Did you not notice George Washington with Edward Braddock? He was right there in the middle of it. So here you have the Crown spending who knows how much money to secure a place for the colonists to thrive, and then, when they ask for a little bit of help... Right, look, think of it this way. King George and the colonists, they all go out to dinner, right? And when the bill comes, George asks for them to kick in and pay their share. Fair enough. Now keep in mind, he's been taking them out to dinner gratis for decades now. But the colonists, oh no, they insist they only had a glass of water and a side salad. Never mind the table's full of half-eaten food and empty bottles of wine. Now when the king points this out, what do the colonists do? Oh, they flip the table over and they storm out the restaurant. Probably intending to return later and burn it down.
You left out the part where the king pointed a gun at the colonists and asked them to cover dinner for everyone in the restaurant.
Right, yeah, interesting take. If he pulled out a gun, and I'm not sure he did, it would only have been after the 100th failed attempt at getting them to pay their fair share.
But how do you define someone's fair share?
Oh, well, with a war, apparently. I wonder how many other places like this exist.
There are dozens of them, all over the world.
And somehow no one's ever found one before us.
I don't think that's true.
Oh?
When I was at Abstergo, Vidic talked about silencing discoveries made by non-Templars. And I'm sure Abstergo has dug up plenty.
The things they must know.
Regretting throwing in with us?
No. Just looking forward to when we can finally trounce those bastards so I can dive into their archives. Oh, I think I found a lead on another power source. Later, Desmond. I'm in the middle of something very important right now. That's a rule. Just follow that as a rule.
Yeah, he does have a point about the whole Civil War thing. Kind of an interesting take. I mean, I would say it's a civil war turned into a revolution.
I know everyone thinks I'm being silly, but I can't shake the feeling we're being watched.
We are being watched. By Juno. Or some version of her.
Do you think it's a recording? Or is she a ghost? Or something else? Is she talking to us the way Minerva talked to Ezio?
No clue. I mean, who knows what else they were working on down here? There's still so many rooms we don't have access to.
But do you think she's like literally down here, waiting somewhere, still alive?
Still alive? That's mental. That means she'd be at least 75, 80,000 years old? Oh, powerful, yeah, but not that powerful.
They came down here looking for a way to survive. Maybe they found one. Was it weird seeing Cross?
What do you mean?
It's different for you. You don't know about what happened, I guess. For a long time, he was important to us. He was a different person.
Sean said he was a sleeper agent, like Lucy.
It was different. She made a choice, but Cross, if you read the files, Abstergo just... They did terrible things to him.
Rebecca?
You're lucky. We all are. We have people who care about us, who look out for us. He was all alone, and the people he thought he could trust, they used him.
Did you know him?
No, but I knew Hannah.
Who's that?
She tried to help him. She trusted him. But there was a raid about a year ago. She stayed behind so the others could escape. Tried to reason with him to see if she could fix things.
Well, what happened?
What do you think happened? He killed her. That's what he does. That's all he knows how to do. Sometimes it seems like that's all any of us know how to do.
Rebecca.
I just want to be alone right now.
Well, that was deep. So there's a lot more to Cross than we really know. Of course, we only saw him the once, and then we got the little backstory on him a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't sound like a very good guy. Even before he was working for the Templars. I don't know how I feel about Rebecca's outfits. They're a little... Her style is a little bit different. But at the same time, she's a little bit different, so... You know, I guess it's cool. You know, it would be so nice to have like a flashlight or something. Alright, since all the dialogue is spent, I think we'll get to where we place a battery or whatever. Going back up, we see Juno's here.
Wonder what's inside.
Only one way to find out.
Alright, so we've gained access to that other sideway over there. I think we can go and explore it. Also, they do have kind of a point, or Sean did, or whoever was talking, Rebecca, I think, maybe. These guys came down here. This place is still intact. So whatever ended the world the first time didn't break these places down. There's no food or anything, but after, if Sean's correct, 78,000 years, I doubt there would be.
What is a fact? Is it fixed? Immutable? Certain in its existence and only awaiting discovery? Or might it be changed? Here we learned the answer and thought that it might save us. They were used to command, to control, to own. But we soon discovered another use. When enough sat in thrall and were told to believe, their thoughts took on form. What was imagined became real. If 100 minds could wish away a wall or create a tree, what might 1,000 do? 10,000 more. Might we change the consensus and will the threat away? We resolved to send one into the sky where it might illuminate us all. Once placed, a sentence would be uttered. Make us safe. In this way, we would change the consensus. We would save the world. But it never came to be. We sent a dozen of them skyward, but there was no way to maintain control, to direct the beam, to enthrall the world, to speak the words. Though this was strange and dangerous, what we tried next was worse.
There's dozens of those floating out in space somewhere. Perhaps landed on different planets. So yeah, these first civilization people use these apples to control their creations, their subjects, the human race. It backfired on them eventually. Here we go again.
Our first instinct was to travel back, to change the past. But we could not find a way. But forward. We could look forward. And so here we sought to see beyond ourselves and know what was to come. First we watched to learn if our work would succeed. But the answer was always the same. So we moved on to other things. But she remained. The one you call Minerva. In time, she too stopped looking. And instead began to speak. She called out across time in the hopes that you might be saved. She hid messages where none might find them, save for you and those within this place.
Fascinating.
I'm tired of it. The cryptic warnings, the threats. Just tell us what you want!
But they are. We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Imagine trying to explain all this to a 2-year-old, to a grasshopper. When they said the will of the gods was unknowable, they meant it. Literally.
I killed her, you know. I killed Lucy.
It was the apple, son. It was Juno.
I saw what she was. What would happen if I let her live? I could have stopped myself. I mean, there was a force there. But I didn't have to. I chose to.
Desmond.
Lucy was going to betray us and take the apple back to Abstergo. I saw the satellite launched. I saw them turn it on, and then it failed. Whatever's on the other side of that door, it benefits Juno. We need to be careful.
Yeah, we best be careful. I don't know too much about this Juno yet. She seems to be guiding us in some way. But... oh, there she is again. But as we know, the only person left gets to tell their version of any story. It sounded like Minerva was the one that stayed behind and tried to do something. She was the one that left the messages, trying to lead us here and help save the world now, but I don't know nothing about Juno until now. She seems to be in this place a lot. What exactly does she want is the question. Made a little loop there. Is there a way we can get through? These seem to be doors. Some sort of doorways. They're closed. Can't get into them. Alright, let's see here. Okay, so before we went... yeah. Can we go anywhere else? No. It's so dark. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? This is like a little elevator shaft, or a rather large elevator shaft. Okay, this is something. Something definitely happened here. I just don't know what. Look at that, here we are. Juno. So we don't have this next power source thing, right? So we can't do anything here, but now we know how to get up here. Now, for next time, you find Desmond.
Come on, son. We got work to do.
Oh, okay. It turns out the dialogue is just still spent. Let's check out some emails. Let's see. We've read a lot of these. Okay, right here. From Rebecca, subject, sent on November 7th, 2012 at 23:18 to Desmond. Sean is really getting on my nerves. You'd think with everything going on, the guy would stop being such a douche. Maybe he thinks it's funny, or maybe it's part of his snarky British charm, or maybe it's how he deals with the stress. Whatever it is, it's getting old really fast. We've got enough to worry about, you know, end of the world and all. You'd think he'd show some restraint or maturity or something. Sorry, not like you need to hear me venting. You've got enough on your plate. Please don't say anything to him. Alright, from William Miles, disappointed. November 8th, 2012 at 2 in the morning. In case you haven't noticed, we're knee-deep in the crap here. I understand this might not be your idea of a good time. It isn't anyone's idea of a good time. Picking fights isn't going to get our work finished any faster, so I suggest you stick to the mission. The sooner we're through the door, the sooner we can get back to our lives, in your case, the lack of one. Wow, dude, he is kind of a douche. Sean Hastings, your father. Sent November 9th, 2012 at 9 in the morning. William's not the most diplomatic man, I'll give you that. But he cares about you very much. When you were under, during that whole bit with 16, he never left your side. Even slept in the same room when we put down for the night. Anyway, don't mean to be a busybody. Just didn't want you to stay sore with him. Not too sore, anyway. The man means well, even if it's got an odd way of showing it. Sean Hastings, new database entries, November 9th, 2012 at 10 p.m. Just a quick heads up that I've pushed a new batch of entries forced on the Kanan KHK in order to ensure accuracy. I actually turned to a friend on the outside. Don't worry, he thinks it's for a presentation, so we're in no danger of being discovered. You'll find a new section under the database labeled Surprise, Surprise, Kanan KHK. It has information on their political and social structures, as well as some notes about their material culture, which, of course, we already went through on one of the episodes. It was super long and super excruciating, but very informative nonetheless. From Sean Hastings, Connor, Peace of Eden, 2012, November 11th, 2012 at 2:15 55. I mean, basically 3. Interesting. The sphere used by Connor during his spirit journey is clearly for civilization origin. It appears to function as some sort of temporal calculator. It's essentially a crystal ball, but one that actually works. This can't be coincidental. Which begs the question, are there others out there? Yeah, that one was a little bit different. Weird little crystal ball. Kind of reminded me of that one on Harry Potter that Malfoy throws and then Harry goes and chases after it. But yeah, that one was different. Not super useful to us, but still. This next email appears to just be gibberish. I don't even know how it got to us, considering that it would need to be sent to us. So the sent column, or the sent line is just gibberish as well. Either that, or it was saved here on our own computer. But it doesn't it's not like a code or anything, so we'll move on. I don't know what it is supposed to mean. Alright, what do we got here? The binary on this email says Juno. Subject is connected. It was sent on November 12th, 2012 at 2 in the morning to Desmond. It works. I should hardly be surprised. Electrical impulses move from one pathway to another. You call them networks. Our word for them is more akin to road. It is yet difficult to project a thought from one medium to another. And yet it works. It works. It works. It works. Now, not only does Juno talk to us as the little projection, but she has infiltrated our computer and is sending messages to us. The next one's from Sean Hastings, Hatham's Blade, sent on November 13th, 2012 at 12 in the afternoon. I've been doing some digging on Hatham's Blade. Still not 100% sure where they came from. My initial instinct was that he started out as an assassin. I believe his father was one, in fact, but it appears he was a Templar from pretty early on. Maybe he took them from someone. It's happened before, and they're quite handy. I'm surprised more Templars haven't put them to use. Pretty easy to build a pair if you know what you're doing. The next one is from Juno again. Improvements sent on November 13th, 2012 at about 6:30. I found a way to better control the impulses to formulate a thought and transmit it to add a sense of structure, a sense of order. You fear order. Your kind, the gentle hand tends to flock. It is a kindness, not a cruelty. I wonder, will you ever understand? Your enemies do in their own way, but they share your base heritage. Their concept is flawed. They are not worthy. You have all proved unworthy of our gifts. I gotta say, just reading that email alone from Juno here, she does not seem like a good ancient civilization person, whatever you want to call her. So she's more in line with the Templars, that's clear, so I'm pretty sure we should not trust her at all. The next one's from Sean. It's about Juno, November 14th, 2012 at 1 in the morning. Who sleeps in this place at all? I guess we were on the other side of the world a while ago, so it does make sense that we're all up at night. Looks like Juno's really taking a shine to you. I suggest you don't engage her. There isn't time to go down that rabbit hole. It's sure to prove a badger's den. Besides, this whole experience is actually that final door. Salvation, was it? But for us, who knows? Here we sit, working toward something we know next to nothing about, but it's our only chance, so there's that, I suppose. He has a point. Juno's the only one here leading us to anything. We don't actually know for sure if the world's gonna end, right? I mean, it's a maybe. That it could happen, might not, who knows. Juno's clearly got some sort of motives for helping us out. If indeed she's even helping us, I don't know what's really going on. But yeah, Sean's got a point here. We don't know what's... maybe this door is supposed to open and she wants in there for some reason and she couldn't get in before. And, I mean, she doesn't seem like the best person. So, who knows? We haven't met any of the others yet. We'll see. Hopefully we do. Maybe. Maybe she's a good guy trying to help us out. But, we'll have to see about that later. The next one's from Sean as well. Forwarded. Leave him alone. Sent on the 14th of November, 2012, at, again, 1 in the morning. LOL, somebody doesn't like me. Begin forwarded message from Juno to Sean Hastings at 1 in the morning, but it's actually a minute before this message was sent out to us. It says the subject is leave him alone. You should not meddle in affairs that you do not that do not concern you. Yeah, okay, so Juno's yelling at Sean here, telling him to butt out when I'm assuming that he told us not to talk to her or whatever. She seems to be angry about it. She's obviously leading down a path here. So, it would probably be smart to actually listen to Sean. I'm going to assume, being, a game, that we're going to have to listen to her to do whatever it is that we have to do. I guess we'll find out. And the last message, again, from Sean on November 14th, 2012 at 7:30 to the group, Desmond, William, and Rebecca. All these Juno visits and emails too, apparently, have got me thinking, what happened to Tinya and Minerva? They're the ones who invited us to this little apocalypse party, and now they've gone and buggered off. A little inconvenient, not to mention rude. I'll try and poke around later, see if there's not some sign of what happened to them. Okay, yeah, so we talked about that just a minute ago. I had mentioned that. Yeah, what happened to them? Perhaps she killed them, and she's the only one left down here. Perhaps they had left, and, and left her down here for some reason, whatever. But yeah, Minerva was the one that kind of led us down this path. Tinya, whatever. He we haven't really spoken or done anything with him, so I don't know anything about that, but yeah, it's something. Hopefully Sean can enlighten us on that more later. One of my keys was stuck. Alright, I think now we'll jump back in.
Good luck, Desmond.
That's Connor to you.
These are troubled times. The already uneasy alliance between the Crown and its subjects frays. And behind them both the Templars plot, pulling strings and moving pieces. History dictates they seek order through control. But how will they affect it here? Who supports them? And what conspiracies have they already spun? All these things I must determine. For only by knowing my enemy can I hope to stop them.
Connor! Spare a moment.
Of course.
Have a look.
What is it?
Xingbao, or rope dart if you prefer. One of the many plans given to us by Xiao Yun to...
Sorry.
We'll have to work on this.
Ganondogo,
Yes, my friend.
what brings you here? Is the village all right?
For now,
What do you mean? What has happened?
men came, claiming we had to leave. They said that the land was being sold, and that the Confederacy had consented. We sent an envoy, but they would not listen.
You must refuse!
We cannot oppose the Sachem, but you're right as well. We cannot give up our home.
Do you have a name? Do you know who is responsible?
He's called William Johnson,
Where is Johnson now?
in Boston, making preparations for the sale.
Sale! This is theft!
Connor, take care. These men are powerful.
What would you have me do? I made a promise to my people.
If you insist upon this course of action, seek out Sam Adams in Boston. He'll be able to help. What have you done?
When my people go to war, a hatchet is buried into a post to signify its start. When the threat is ended, the hatchet is removed.
You could have used a tree.
Yeah, he's got a point. Could have used a tree. But the war has finally started, and with that, we're going to end the episode. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you did, give her a like and all that stuff, and goodbye.